I'd like to call the regular board meeting of the Huron Valley Schools to order for March 17th, 2025. Could we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Grisomkowski.
I'm here.
Ms. Ryan.
Here.
Mr. Dimick, not here. Absent. Ms. Dodd.
Here.
Ms. Cotter.
I'm here.
I am here, and Mr. Wiseman.
And I'm here also.
We have a quorum.
Could we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For us is our agenda as presented. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion made by Vice President Dodd. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Trustee Ms. Ryan. Give me a chance. And could I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Dodd.
Yes.
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Cotter.
Yes.
Ms. Grisomkowski.
Yes.
Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next, communications report. As always, I do have a brief statement. As a school board, we appreciate the members of our community who share their public comments during the designated times of our meeting agenda. This is an important opportunity for the Board of Education to hear from the community. However, it is not a time for a two-way communications. A regular meeting of the Board of Education is designated for the board to conduct the business of the Huron Valley Schools in open session in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. Comments that require follow-up investigation or communication will be handled by our superintendent or a member of his team. There are two segments in the agenda for public comments, in Section 7 and also in Section 3, respectfully. 15 minutes have been allocated in Section 3 for public comments related to action, voting items, or non-action items if time allows. The Board of Education will allocate more than the 15 minutes that is originally allocated in Section 3 so that all public comments on action voting items may be heard in that section. All comments on non-action items will take place during Section 7 of the agenda if not already heard in Section 3. All speakers wishing to address the board must be present. All individuals will be given an opportunity to speak. Each individual delivering public comments will have 3 minutes to share their communication. Individuals may only speak once and cannot share unused time with another person. A timer will be displayed on the screen so individuals can monitor their time. Once 3 minutes have elapsed, the timer will sound indicating that public comments have been concluded, and the microphone will be turned off in preparation for our next speaker. The individual, as I said before, must be present to share their public comments. We ask that you share your name and home district before you provide your comments. Furthermore, we request that you refrain from name calling. Comments must be related to school business and may not include personal attacks unrelated to school business. If you make such comments, the Board of Education President, myself, will, to the extent permitted under the First Amendment, interrupt or end your comment time. If you plan to share public comments, please complete the form in the back of the room and give your form to Ms. Cadell, seating to my far left. Thank you again for your professionalism, your partnership, and if we could have lights, it would even be better. We have power. Did somebody hit the lights? There we go. Super. I'm glad my public comments were done. I would have had to have ad-libbed on that. Next, I do have a couple of comments as it relates to my role as board president. I do want to thank our board members for giving up their time, making themselves available during community forum last week. I appreciate that. It was a time that was given to our public to speak to us one-on-one. At the same time, I know a number of our administrators and our board members were able to attend our junior kindergarten orientation that was well attended, and I appreciate your time as it relates to that. We also had in the last week IA Honors, one of our 4 high schools. It's always amazing as it relates to the achievements of those students. One of the things that we make available is we certainly believe in our whole child and providing opportunities. Our IA West is part of the consortium that is the #1 high school in our state, and one of the top 10, I believe, in the entire nation. So we're very proud of that being one of our 4 high schools. In addition to that, this week, our administration, our teachers, our community is providing opportunities for them to present their ideas as it relates to our new middle schools. As everyone knows, we're in the midst of redistricting, but at the same time, we're also in the midst of planning our new middle schools, both at White Lake and the new one over here on this campus. Some of the groups that are meeting are focus groups as it relates to general ed, STEAM and CTE, visual arts, performing arts, media center, and special education. I was able to attend one today, and it was well attended, and the comments were very valuable as we gather the information so that we can share it with the larger group, the steering committee of that middle school. The one other comment I do have is next week is spring break. I just want to make certain that everybody stays safe. All of our students come back to us. I know it's a time of celebration, especially at the high school level, but I want everybody to be very, very careful, very cautious. Each of you are very dear to us, and we want you to have a safe holiday, but at the same time, be smart. So with that, that ends my public comments. Next, I'll turn our agenda over to Dr. Salah.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everybody. This evening, our Huron Valley highlight is for the Seal of Biliteracy and Translators. And in order to facilitate this presentation, I'm going to invite Lena Nemeth, Sonia Ellis, and Jennifer Bjorkman to the podium.
Before we begin, there's a number of people that are out in the hallway. Is there a way that maybe Mr. Tavernier can invite them in?
How many people do we have?
I don't know. We can just scoot down.
10, 15 people in the hallway.
You can come in and stand on the side over here in front of the screens on my right. We get everybody? There's some room up here, everyone. Come on in, don't be bashful. Ryan, if you want to scoot down, let everyone kind of move down the line. Good. Thank you, Mr. Digsby. Okay, Dr. Nemeth.
I think we're just waiting for the slide deck. Yep, there we go. Okay, good evening, board and students and staff and community members that are here tonight. I'm Lena Nemeth. I'm the Director of Data Analysis and Assessment, and each year I get to come to a board meeting about this time and share a little bit about our STAMP assessment, which is a language proficiency assessment, and share some results of our middle school students. We have some wonderful middle school students who have done very well on that assessment, so I'm going to share a little bit about that. And I'm also joined today by my colleagues, Jennifer Bjorkman, who's the Director of State and Federal Programs, as well as Sonia Ellis, who is our EL Coordinator. And we are also going to share with you we're privileged to share with you some of the staff members who have achieved a Global Seal of Biliteracy Learner Program. So I will start. We are a packed house, so I'm going to do my best to share on the slides, and we're also going to have some students and staff coming up in the area here as well. But first of all, our STAMP 4S assessment, it's a standard-based measurement of proficiency, and it's an optional assessment that is given to students in middle school where they can show and demonstrate how they have learned a second language other than English and are proficient in that language. This year, 24-25 school year, we were able to assess students in multiple languages, as you can see on the screen: Chinese, German, Spanish, Ukrainian, and Japanese. This is an online assessment. It's very challenging, and students are asked to demonstrate their proficiency in reading, writing, speaking, and their listening skills. And they also need to be proficient in all of those areas in order to earn some credits for world language. So as you know, our high school graduation requirements require students to take 2 credits in a world language, and students who are proficient on this assessment can earn 1 or 2 of those credits early before high school. And the benefit of that could be that they have more time in their schedule for electives or other pursuits. So this is our criteria. So students who score a 3 or a 4 in all 4 of those domains, speaking, listening, reading, and writing, will earn 2 credits in a world language for high school. If they receive a 2 or above in all 4 areas, they can earn 1 credit. And then if they do not score a 2, that they will not receive any credit for high school, but they would have that opportunity in the future. So this year, I'm happy to announce we had 18 of our 8th graders who received high school credit from taking the STAMP assessment. That's the most we've ever had, so it's very exciting. And I wanted to invite Amy Grzymkowski up to hand out these awards. We are going to read the names of these 8th graders. I'm going to turn it over to Sonia to do that and invite them up for this honor.
Hi, my name is Sonia Ellis. I'm a Yale coordinator, and it's an honor to announce our wonderful students. If I may ask you to hold the applause till the last student is standing, I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Emma Bergen. Sophia Jones. Alexa Lushke. Joey Salazar Panigua. Wahin Barajas. Elizabeth Bagurska. Romelia Kayaks. Erlene Chacon Godoy. Sophia Godoy Teo. Kylie Huber. Yamaleth Linares Lozano. Christian Pama Godoy. Nicholas Pama Godoy. Tristan Gonzalez Ponce. Melody Guerra Edvinson. Kimberly Gurola. Marian Landavazo. Yasmin Velasquez. Would you please give a round of applause to our wonderful students? Congratulations on a job well done. And another big round of applause, please. Good job. Thank you. Okay, would you like to? Okay, would you like to go ahead and have a seat? Thank you. And now we would like to recognize our staff with the Global Seal of Biliteracy. Global Seal.
Michelle Ryan's gonna
Okay.
hand these out.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. So Global Seal of Biliteracy recognize high-level proficiency in 2 or more languages. That requires professional level fluency in deep understanding. That is a very difficult and challenging assessment that the individuals have to take. It's very lengthy. It kind of resembles the STAMP, and it's globally recognized in over 50 countries. And very proud to announce that our district is the first one in Oakland County to award this prestigious award today. We're recognizing our staff who successfully passed the assessment in languages Japanese, Russian, and Spanish today. However, this assessment is offered in a variety of languages. Once again, this assessment assesses the staff or individuals in reading, writing, speaking, and language skills. May I please have Michelle Ryan to help us with our award, please. We're incredibly proud to honor the outstanding performance and dedication of our 12 Huron Valley staff members who have earned a prestigious award of Global Seal of Biliteracy. Georgina Allen. Jeannie Biano. Claudia Zerneski. Maria Jose Castillo. Elizabeth Gonzalez. Etzel Gutierrez. Yuki Hogley. Martha Hooks. Daisy Nunes. Yekaterina Pasate. Wendy Ramirez. And Cynthia Rodriguez. We're also proud to recognize and celebrate our alumni today who have completed full circle from the students to a valued employees. Their journey from learners to leaders as a testament to their dedication and hard work and the strong foundation they built here in Huron Valley Schools. Thank you. And that, thank you.
And while we have our amazing EL team here, we wanted to just take a couple minutes to recognize our EL program and all the amazing educators who we have here in the room who are part of that. So we are not just teaching English, but we are also learning from our students, from their cultures, languages, and experiences, and together we are building a stronger school community. And so just want to take a moment to celebrate the heart of our EL program. Many of these, our EL teachers are here. So if you are an EL teacher, could you please stand up and be recognized for all of your support? Many of you are already standing, so wave a hand. And we also have many caring paraeducators who are here with us as well. If you are a paraeducator, if you kind of wave. And then as you just were able to meet all of our amazing translators who show such high proficiency in their second language, in English and another language, we are so thankful to have supporting our students, our staff, and our families. So another shout out for our translating team. And I think I saw Kathy Longcore in the crowd. Yeah. Okay. So we just have such an amazing team, and we are so thankful for this dynamic community of support for our students in our staff and our families, and we are fortunate. We currently serve 284 English learners across all 15 schools in Huron Valley, and that represents 25 different languages in 16 countries. And we truly have a global community here, so we are appreciative of the vital role that our EL team plays in supporting all of our students and our staff and our community. So we just wanted to take that moment to thank you and thank all of our wonderful, amazing educators for being here tonight, and thank you all for being here to celebrate them with us. Oh. And to wrap it up, we're going to share a highlight video, and you will see many of our staff members who are here who are also highlighted in the video. So we're going to get that EL video queued up. Oh. English learner students are the students who are learning the English language. Those usually are the students who either came to us from outside of the United States.
Opportunities. We're focusing on educational aspect, on how students can, how the parents can support their students at home, how they can provide the additional knowledge, and in addition to that, we're providing the information on accessing the teachers, accessing the student platforms. We want them to be involved, and we want them to know that they're just important to their students' education as the school system. We want them to feel welcome, and we also want them to learn as well.
Every question that I have, they always give me the answer.
It's not only about communication and not talking the language, it's also learning how this works, right? Again, from the country that we're coming from, things work completely different.
Our school district is absolutely phenomenal in supporting our English learner program in the district. They're providing us resources. With resources, they're also providing us with tools for our students to be successful.
The EL room is so fantastic. You get to learn so many things by each teacher.
Just being part of their success, you know, allowing them the opportunity to learn and grow and become, you know, a part of the community, just be who they want to be, and providing them the opportunity they probably would never have in their country. You know, it's just something, and just to be in piece of it, like I really do feel that we're just so lucky and, you know, to be part of this program.
We just want to thank everyone for being here, and do you have any questions for us?
Anybody have any questions or comments? Yes, Lindsay?
Yeah, I don't have a question, but I just wanted to have a comment. It was my honor tonight to observe this whole presentation, and I'm thankful to our staff and our teachers and our support staff for taking care of a number of Huron Valley kids. They've done an exceptional job, and I was very impressed with those credits that were earned. So years ago, our EL program was very small in Huron Valley, and over the years it's developed into a wonderful program because of the kids, their parents, and our support staff. So I just wanted to say it was my honor tonight. Thank you very much.
Any other comments? It's hard to follow something like that. Thank you very
Sorry.
much for your comments, Lindsay. Thank you, students, staff, parents. It's just absolutely incredible, like Lindsay said. It's an amazing accomplishment, not only for our students, but the staff that went above and beyond to get what they needed to get so that they could be even more effective. So I really appreciate that. And I think the video also shows that this doesn't start in middle school. It starts when they're very, very small. And I think that's one of the powers of this district, is the diversity of the district and the fact that we serve all students, one student at a time. And yes.
Yes, and I'm sorry to apologize, but I believe a few kids may have walked in late from the middle school presentation. So I know, I believe Paul Victoria and Arlen. Is there anybody else that was late from coming in? I know there's not a lot of parking at the whole house.
Thank you for letting us.
So, Chris and Nick, yes, and Arlen, will you guys come up? Is there anyone else that missed earlier?
Please come up if you came in a few minutes late. Don't be shy.
Okay.
We want to honor you.
Christian Palma-Godoy. Nicholas Palma-Godoy. And Erlyn Chacon-Godoy. Congratulations.
Great, thank you very much. And look at this, you get a special picture. Well, let's do a retake. We want the certificate the right side up. We'll delete the other photos. Great, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for making certain that we recognize the final three. We're going to take a short recess. All of you are invited for the rest of the board meeting if you'd like, but I know it's early, and I know that there's a lot of work that needs to be done in preparation for tomorrow's school day. So I'm going to take about a 2-minute recess, and if you'd like, you can stay. If you'd like to leave, this is a time for you to leave. So. Dr. Slaw? Dr. Slaw?
I'm here.
Okay.
So yes, next up this evening, we have the Oxbow Owls in the house, and so I'm going to invite the proud principal, Mrs. Greenleaf.
Well, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Board of Education and HVS community. I'm Justine Greenleaf, and yes, I am indeed the very proud principal of Oxbow Elementary. Oxbow Elementary is a supportive, diverse, and hardworking school community. Our staff works tirelessly to provide our students with a rich and memorable learning experience through the many programs and opportunities that we provide. I would like to welcome our Oxbow team members that are here this evening, as well as one of our owls, our fourth grader, Lacey Mann, and her mom, Miss Baker. One such program that we are very proud of at Oxbow is supported through our Title I funding, and that is the Positive Behavior Intervention Supports Program, or our PBIS program. Here with me tonight, I have Mr. Greg Ristow. I have to coax him over here. Throughout the last 5 years, he has done a wonderful job of helping to grow our PBIS program through his leadership, his teaching experience, and love for all kids. Mr. Ristow has been in HVS for 26 years, and his strengths definitely include building relationships with families and students and ensuring that all students feel cared for and loved each and every day. So Oxbow Elementary is a school-wide Title I building that utilizes our grant funding to help support the following items within our building. Resources and materials such as supplemental classroom resources like Scholastic News, classroom library editions, hands-on manipulatives that are used in our classrooms like letter tiles to support students learning literacy in our primary classrooms. Calming corners in classrooms, which is a designated space where students can go to manage their emotions, practice self-regulation, and find a sense of calm when feeling overwhelmed or upset throughout the day through the use of things like timers, squishies, vessels, and stress balls. The Positivity Project, which is our school-wide Title I Tier I school-wide character education program that provides students with a weekly character focus and family at-home resources promoting the connection between school and home. Second Step, which we use in our JK through second grade classrooms. Our social workers and PBIS paraprofessionals push into classrooms weekly, providing an additional dose of character development and education in addition to P2. Student recognitions and celebrations of student achievement that Mr. Ristow will speak more to later in this presentation, and our PBIS coordinator, which is standing right here next to me. We're very fortunate to have Mr. Ristow in this position, helping to support our students' growth in character building, social, emotional, and discipline support. And then, of course, our two fantastic PBIS paraprofessionals that work within our sensory room. This is a supportive environment that both Mrs. Broman and Mrs. Opie have created within our building that keeps students engaged, focus on learning how to identify their feelings, and providing out-of-the-box strategies to help students learn how to de-escalate so that they can return back to the classroom ready to learn.
Thank you for allowing us to share tonight. We have so many wonderful things going on at Oxbow, and sometimes when we're in our own little corner of the neighborhood, it's nice to know that other people are seeing the good work that's going on and that we're able to share those thanks to the team across the district as well with our district-wide meetings and just a lot of the support that we have throughout the different buildings, so it's nice to see. So my job is based on that whole school-wide Title I approach in terms of Tier 1, where we're meeting the needs of all students and helping them to make choices based on that intrinsic motivation and being able to understand that the way we are each day and the way we treat one another really affects more than just our academics. I know when I was in the classroom for all those years, I would always tell parents, our number one job is that your child wants to come to school. And once they're at school, we can figure out the rest. So I feel like that's my job now, is with 400 students at Oxbow, is to help them, whether it's that first day with the kindergartners getting out of the car, and just making them feel welcome, because once they're there, we have an amazing staff that can handle the rest. So that's kind of what I pride myself on each day. So how does that benefit students at Oxbow? We believe that whole child that we talk about, that social emotional success, then leads to that academic success, and that really just creates a positive environment at our school. We want to create that safe, caring environment. We want families to know when they drop their students off, whether they're riding the bus or at the car, that they are safe in our building, they're loved and cared for, and they have a voice. And then that also helps not only with the students' interactions with one another, but it does with the staff, with the students, and then even with the staff amongst ourselves each day. So we explicitly teach these expectations at Oxbow. We created a behavior matrix, and then we also have our little, I don't like calling it a slogan, but it's kind of an easy way to explain it with our I hoot as we go through. But you can see here that whether it's the hallway, the playground, or the cafeteria, that we make sure that these expectations are taught and reinforced each day. So how do we do that? We have school-wide assemblies with each grade level. With our kindergarten and junior kindergarten students, we push into the classrooms instead of having them come together. We go over each of these expectations. Videos have been created, which, as we'll talk about later, we plan to update. A lot of them were made in that 2020 year, so you can imagine how some of those videos look, but they still teach those expectations. One of our favorite things is the shout-outs. Students and staff can give shout-outs to one another for doing the right thing, and then our recognition events to really highlight those great things that are going on in our building. So this is our I hoot, which we really, when we talk about the Positivity Project, there are a lot of character traits and that other people mindset elements that we really narrowed things down to being the owls and showing this leadership behavior on a consistent basis. The one thing we focus on the most, I think, is that letter I, showing integrity and doing that right thing when no one's watching and giving those students those opportunities to be leaders in different areas of our school. And then you can see the rest of the letters. Our H is helping others, which promotes kindness. The first O is owning our behavior, showing responsibility, that everyone makes mistakes. We talk about owning that, learning from it, and moving on. And then overcoming obstacles for our second O, we really teach that resiliency day in and day out, that learning's tough, making friends is tough, problem solving is tough. We really want our owls to be resilient. And then the final, the T, the treating others in our school with respect. And it's on our walls, we have posters, it's everywhere. Most of our older students can recite this without even looking at it. It's kind of a cool thing to see. Oop, wrong one, sorry. Definitely not gonna go through this, but we took that I hoot and broke that down into what our expectations look like, whether you're in the bathroom, in the hallway locker areas, out at playground, on the bus, our drop-off line, in our cafeteria. And these are those things that we teach. We ask the classroom teachers to reinforce. There's videos for each of those areas, and just those things that, it makes the conversation a lot easier when sometimes students need that redirection or some of that reteaching. It's not the first time they've heard it, and it won't be the last time they hear it each day.
Move this down. So after our tier 1, we definitely have our tier 2. So this is when students need that extra layer of support. And so our second step program is that extra layer of support. We think that in addition to P2, it really allows students the opportunity to focus on those character building skills. And when they're practicing the songs and through the use of puppets, it really helps kids connect with those pieces. In addition to our have scheduled breaks for students throughout the day. That could be a 1 time a day break, 2 times or 3 times, depending on the need that the child presents. And that's working with our paraprofessionals in the sensory room, in addition to scheduled breaks with other staff members. I know that both myself and Mr. Ristow, in addition to our social workers, also have those scheduled breaks with students, and those could look differently. Those could be just spending time talking with one another, playing games with each other, card games, whatever the child needs or what works with that child. The most important thing is spending time and building those relationships with kids. And then in addition to our social skills groups, which are run by our 2 school social workers, we utilize the SRSS assessment to really gather the needs that the students have and really be able to kind of itemize which children need the need or have the needs in that particular moment. And then we do that several times throughout the school year. We also use our zones of regulation in the sensory room. This allows children to learn how to identify their emotions and their feelings, and then they pick specific kind of activities that let them kind of de-escalate or get to that zone where they're ready to get back into the classroom and ready to learn. And then we are also very proud of our partnership with Easter Seals. We are going on year 2.5 now of this partnership. I know that the partnership with Easter Seals MORC is now spreading throughout the district, which is fantastic. We currently have 42 kids on our caseload now, but we have seen as many as 55 kids over the last couple of years. So changer for our building, and I know it will be for our sister schools as well. There we go. Okay. One thing that we are also very proud of within our building are our student shout-outs. So this is where we recognize our kids. This is done on announcements in the morning. Anybody can turn these shout-outs in. It could be a staff member, it can be another child that's shouting out a classmate, it could be our bus drivers, our folks in the cafeteria. And these are just quick, positive little acknowledgments of our students that are caught doing the right thing. So we like them to align to our P2 character traits, so that way we're really highlighting what it looks like to be a P2 owl. But these are just a couple of examples that we have there. You can see one from our 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Hewitt, to a student. So they get very excited to hear their names on announcements, and then Mr. Ristow takes them and puts their little name on a board so kids can really see how many of our owls are being recognized.
So with that, we are also very fortunate to have different student recognition events. So each month, encouraged to submit a form nominating a student for some P2 trait or something going on in the building that they feel that student is really shining and needs to be recognized for. And so each month we're able to have a breakfast that starts after the school day, and we recognize those students with certificates, read what staff member nominated them and what they were being nominated for. It's just a nice little quiet event that we did to try to, we started, I think last year, to recognize more students to kind of spread out what we were doing. Because in addition to that, we've also had a great partnership of Leos Coney of White Lake, who I believe also has the Highland one here, but that White Lake is who we work with. And he has been great with helping to cater. We've tried breakfast, but it's super busy in the morning, so we've kind of switched to dinner now, which also creates some challenges with our families with after-school activities. But that opens the door to a larger community piece of it and getting the families involved to come in and see. And that usually includes all of our owls that have been recognized. So we just had one in January that brought in our September, October, November, December students. And it's just a nice way to kind of reinforce that not only was I recognized this month, but that we are also part of a larger community, and we'll be doing that same one. In fact, we have our February students being nominated or recognized on Wednesday morning, and then we'll set that up for another dinner later in the year. So you can see here just some of the pictures from that event. There's our iHoot again, but our students with their certificates independently. Our families love the pictures, love those events to be able to talk and to see and just to celebrate the children, so it's great. Was I doing something or you're doing? Yeah. Okay, I'll keep going. All right, and then also with all of our funding, we've been fortunate enough to have, and this has just grown amazingly over the 5 years that I've been at Oxbow, our sensory room and just the things that we're able to offer. You can see here just in the picture, just that calm, quiet environment with the lights and some of the different activities students can use, whether it's, there's a swing in the room, there's a TP tent that the students can go in, there's crash pads, there's Legos, there's kinetic sand. The list goes on, and that's the nice part about, as Ms. Greenleaf was talking about, the zones of regulation, that the students coming in and being able to recognize what it is they need in that moment, and that there isn't just one choice. And our team of Mrs. Broman and Mrs. Opie have just done an amazing job of just adding things and digging deeper and learning more, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And just, I couldn't do it without them, and I know that they make my job so much easier and allow me to focus on some of the other things that I do in the building across the board. And so one of those things, in addition to those relationships and those breaks that they provide, is this year they've taken upon themselves to create a weekly informative email to share with staff to just whether highlight something they're doing in the sensory room, reminding of some strategies that teachers can use in the classroom with their students, things that our entire team can be thinking about. And it comes out every Monday morning, a little snapshot. And it's just really, I know that some of the teachers have gone up to them and just said, hey, thanks. I didn't think about it that way, or even veteran teachers that, wow, I needed that to hear that this morning. Just the feedback's been amazing. And like I said, they're short and sweet and just really stressing why we do what we do and how important it is each and every day.
In addition to the partnership that we have with Easter Seals, where we have a licensed therapist working out of our building 5 days a week, we have also been able to partner with the parent navigator through Easter Seals. So she has provided various parental workshops for our families over the course of the last year, and these are just some of the snippets and samples of what she has kind of met and discussed with parents, such as safety in the home, establishing routines, and how to address things such as stressors, especially with the holidays that we're approaching, reducing screen time. Some of those things that our families are currently struggling with. We are going to also be having a session that is happening on April 1st, and that one is going to be addressing anxiety and depression in children. So it's definitely things that our families are dealing with or going through, and it's just somebody else that they can lean on and just get some informative information and strategies of things that they can use at home with their children. So we're very, very proud of that partnership as well. And then next steps for PBIS, we definitely like to continue growing and becoming better at what we do and serving our children in all capacities. And so a few things that we've been kind of talking about, and we really would like to hit the ground running next year, is our student mentor program that we have in place. I know that's something that Mr. Ristow and staff members right now, we're starting to get the wheels kind of spinning there. Student initiated videos, so that way it's not Mr. Ristow in all the videos. We'd like to get the kids involved in some of those, even though they're great videos, but we'd really like that student piece there. And then of course a student leadership club. So those are just a few ideas that we have for next year, but the sky is the limit, and we're very excited to see where our PBIS program goes. So any questions?
Board of Education, any comments or questions? Amy?
Thank you for sharing with us tonight. This is a very comprehensive program. I'm just kind of like taking it all in, and it's amazing to me. I love the iHoot, so relatable, and no matter what age, all applicable. I love that. I just am really impressed with the presentation, and I'm impressed with the work that you're doing at Oxbow. So thank you.
Thank you. And actually, I think I have somebody that can even say it better than Mr. Ristow and myself. This is Lacey Mann. She's one of our 4th graders at Oxbow. She has been with us for a number of years, and she has something that she would like to read to you.
Hi, my name is Lacey Mann, and I am a 4th grade student at Oxbow Elementary in Miss Brinkman's classroom. When I think of Oxbow and our PBIS program, I think of the Positivity Project. It makes me work on things of all the positive things around me. It also makes me think of how important it is to be kind. When I was recognized for the Student of the Month dinner in 3rd grade, I felt proud and like I am in the right place. I am glad to be at Oxbow because there are kind kids. The staff makes the kids feel comfortable and safe here. I know the staff listens and they make us feel like we belong. I like being an owl. Thank you.
Great job, Lacey.
Any other comments? Yes, Laura.
I really appreciated your mention of both the Title I funding that you receive as a school, and also the Easter Seals program. I think both of these, I know the Title I is federally funded. I don't know about the Easter Seals program. Really excellent use of federal dollars. And when you said we have to make them want to get here, and then we can take care of the rest, I can tell that you've used this to do that. And you're doing a really wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Lacey, great job. Will you do me a favor and the rest of the board? Will you go back to Oxbow tomorrow and thank everybody for the great job that you're doing and all of your classmates are doing at Oxbow? Because Dr. Salah and I have had an opportunity to visit just recently, and we can feel it. We've visited Oxbow over the years, and every year there's surprises, and not only surprises, but the way you and everybody else at Oxbow treat each other with respect and kindness is so important. And I wish I was back in elementary school, because I'd go to Oxbow just because of the iHoot program. So would you do that for me? Thank you very much. And thank you very much for the presentation. And once again, we'll take a short recess. If I know, Lacey, you can stay, but you can go too. She's thinking about it. Mom already knows. All right. Tough act to follow, two acts to follow, Dr. Salah, but it's time for superintendent's communications.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do have a few items this evening. First of all, for our listening audience, and just as a quick reminder to our board, everything we do really is connected to our strategic plan. We're very deliberate about the decisions that we make, about the initiatives that we employ, and because Oxbow did such an outstanding job really walking through what a comprehensive PBIS system looks like, I just want to remind our board and those who are in our listening audience that our strategic plan, we have a strategic plan goal that specifically relates to this, and my goal number 5 that the board adopted in September, relates to the presentation that you just heard. And that goal is the Huron Valley Schools will build upon its social emotional well-being and support of students through ongoing professional learning for staff, continued support for the behavior interventionist work, and a system-wide approach to the positive behavior intervention support model across all grades within the Huron Valley Schools. So I just thought that was a wonderful example of how we are continuing to work to accomplish that goal and to work towards accomplishing our strategic plan. My second item this evening, I just wanted to take a moment and acknowledge several of our board members, actually. For those of you who are unaware, our Board of Education belongs to a professional organization called the Michigan Association of School Boards. And contrary to what some might think, the life of a Board of Education member is not simply attending one meeting a month. There is a tremendous amount of not only board meetings, but also subcommittee meetings, and then there's ongoing professional development that our board engages in. And they learn about a variety of topics, from engaging to the community, to knowing and understanding how to interpret data and assessment results, to basic governance, to how to facilitate successfully in times of crisis. There are a litany of topics that our Board of Education engages in, and there are literally hundreds and hundreds of hours of professional learning that they participate in. And so we have several board members that have accomplished some awards that I want to highlight here briefly. So for a listening audience to be aware of, our board earned something called the Honor Board Award, which means that every board member has to complete level 1, which is they each have to become certified board members. So that's quite an accomplishment, because to get all 7 board members to take the steps, to take all the necessary classes, and it's not just one class, I mean, it's multiple classes, which includes face-to-face learning and includes a number of online learning commitments, oftentimes away from families on the weekends. It's quite an accomplishment. So congratulations to our Board of Education for accomplishing that. Additionally, beyond level 1, Ms. Dodd, Vice President Dodd, has earned her level 4 Master Board Member Award. That's a lot of classes. Congratulations to Ms. Dodd. Trustee Grzymkowski has earned a level 3 Award of Distinction. So again, lots of hours, lots of classes. Ms. Pastana has earned the Advocacy Skills Specialty, which sounds really fancy, so it's got to be something even outside of just the normal levels. And then on top of that, a level 5 Master Diamond Award. And Ms. Ryan, I think we acknowledged you for a level director at Lakeland High School to the podium. And as he's making his way there, just a couple of preliminary comments. So back in November, I got a call from a calm but panicked Mr. Miller as he had attended a meeting with ADs from across the Lakes Valley Conference, indicating to me that Waterford Schools was immediately dropping out of the LVC. And that can create a pretty stressful situation because, we compete with those other schools, we collaborate with those other schools around a variety of topics, and Mr. Miller will go into more detail. But what I have to give Mr. Miller a tremendous amount of credit for is not only did, once he learned that news, did he take action, but he was appointed president of LVC right there on the spot. And from that moment to today, when you hear this presentation, he has not stopped. He has been relentless in his pursuit of supporting the entire Huron Valley schools with bringing on some additional school districts that are comparable to our own so that we create a really dynamic league and opportunities for professional collaboration with some additional school districts. And so Mr. Miller is going to walk you through that timeline and what has transpired and how we got to where we are today. And for our Board of Education, you received some updates from me over the course of the last several months, but in particular last week in board notes, I had a pretty lengthy description of this, and then communication on Friday with the press release that went out this weekend. There's been a lot of really positive press out there as well regarding the expansion of the LVC. So with that, Mr. Miller, I would invite you to walk through your presentation.
Yeah, and I have to, the LVC presidents as a whole, which at this time is the Huron Valley, Walled Lakes, and South Lyon, we worked hard together on this, and I'd be failed to not mention a former friend of ours, Greg Michaels, who really walked through all of this with me hand in hand. He was kind of behind the scenes helping me out because he's done it before. But absolutely, we're super excited. Like Dr. Salah said, we're going to expand to 12 teams. It's going to be a year away, so it'll be 26, 27. The history of the LVC is right up there. We're actually coming almost twofold all the way back to the Western Lakes back in the 80s. But and I say we, Lakeland and Milford, went from the KVC to the KLA to the 9-school LVC. Waterford will be leaving after next fall. So in the winter and spring of next year, we're going to be a 7-team league, but we're okay with that. And then in 26, 27, we'll bring on the 3 Farmington schools, Livonia, Churchill, Stevenson, Franklin, and then Farmington and North Farmington. So we're definitely excited for that. So here is really one of the major components for us. It's the enrollment of all the schools. You'll see the average school was at 1278. With the expansion, we're going to be at about 1389, so we're not changing that much. You see specifically for Lakeland and Milford, we're right in the middle, actually a little bit towards the top, so that benefits us as well. And then there's your geography. That the furthest anyone would travel would be Churchill to Milford. And when we're doing scheduling, things like that, it's our job to make sure that's on a Friday night, something like that. But that'll allow us to work through that. So we're excited about the geography, the enrollment, and then the other major component. Really, there were 3 major components we looked at. Was the multiple school districts. We didn't want any of the singular school districts is something that's big to us as AD. So when you put it all together, that's it. That's kind of the graph that we really used to when we were presenting to the Farmingtons and the Livonias to say this is why it really works for all of us. So with the schools, we feel that we've brought in a lot of diversity into the league, and that's great. A variety of student population characteristics. And we're going to continue to kind of move forward with future efforts in collaborating and doing. That's going to be a big component, is working through with each other on that. It's also an academic move for us as well. Our principals have the LVC Principals Group. Kyle Medier from Wall Lake Central is the president of that, and he worked really, really hard in collaboration with me and with Greg and I on this. And so it just adds another component to principal meetings, instructional leadership, student management. And really, we felt that all 5 schools had the same belief with the combination of athletics leading to academic success. And so that fell in well with us. Student leadership opportunities are going to just continue to grow. Dave Gilbert from Milford was with us along the way. He went on the visits with us. He was at the presentation when we went and presented to the administration at Walled Lake at Walled Lake, but to Farmington and Livonia. He did a tremendous job, and I think him and there's a couple new leadership people coming in are going to work really well together. And just from touring the buildings last Tuesday, we had lunch, and Dave said that he's already got a ton of really good ideas moving forward. And so ultimately, we're taking, and I should have said this, Farmington's leaving the OAA, and Livonia's are leaving the KLAA, and so taking those ideas that they do in their leadership classes or what they do for their leadership programs, and those coming to us, is now we have 3 leagues that we have ideas from. So that's going to really assist. Kind of just a review here, similar school commonalities, sports offerings at the high school and the middle school level. And this isn't just high school, because we're going to be bringing the middle schools in very quickly here. And so that's going to allow us to, once again, creative scheduling so our middle school kids aren't traveling as far, create more opportunities for league meets, just bigger. And that, one of our biggest things is keeping our kids in our hands, coaching our kids, so they're not running out and always playing AAU or whatever else. And I think this will attract a lot more middle schools, kids to play middle school sports. Safety and security, one of the things we looked at was how they handle events when they're hosting, and we were very comfortable with, they do it very similar to how we already do. Scheduling formats, we have a lot of different options. That's going to be our biggest thing, is next year is getting together and figuring out how we want to set up those schedules. And we do have a premier website, and Jim Marslak from Milford runs that. And if you haven't visited, you should, because it's really good and always up to date. And I think we're one of the few leagues that really does put an onus on that. So potential for future programming, unified sports. All the schools we're bringing in has unified sports. So that's somewhere we wanted to grow as a league, because we only have 3 or 4 teams at schools, I think, that are offered it. So we're excited about that. The MHSA is now bringing in boys volleyball and girls field hockey. Esports is already an opportunity, like I mentioned, middle school tournaments, and then the leadership piece we're really excited about. So there's your transition period. I already kind of went through it. One of the things we're looking forward to next year is setting up a leadership conference with some of our students, in which we bring the coaches in early in the year, have the coaches, the students, in the afternoon, let the coaches break out and start creating ideas for scheduling and how that can look. And then we can look at it all together. So we're excited about putting that event together for next school year, to bring, really the first time we'll bring all 12 together. So this was the admission procedures. We started discussions. We sent the letter. And then we had a meeting on February 25th where we met with everybody, and it went really fast from there. I think when we met with them, they realized it was a good fit. So, and then Friday was the board vote, and it was unanimous. So. Questions?
Anyone have any questions from the Board of Education? Amy?
Quick comment, Todd, thank you for all your work on this. Sports mom here, very excited to see some new schools in LVC. We were here when, I've been around for a long time, so KLAA, I have patches from that. We got LVC patches. But this is really exciting. Great work. I like that you considered more than just the size of these other high schools. You were looking at distance, you were looking at the geography, you were looking at where are the commonalities. Having a diverse group of athletes, leadership, this is really great work. So thank you very much.
Any other comments, questions? Todd, you're being modest. We know, I know, and the rest of the board knows the work that you've done leading this, and while there were a lot of people helping you with this, you were the front person. And as always, you're always looking out for what's best for Huron Valley, and I without any reservation, this is a good move. I think a lot of times we talk about athletic leagues and just focus on the athletic piece of it, but the fact that you brought forth the commonalities as it relates to providing opportunities for leadership and instruction and working together, I think those are valuable lessons that our students have available with that expanded league, and with the fact that we are going to be in a league with recognizing that we have multiple high schools at each of these school districts. And that was extraordinarily important when we made that move and created the league that we're presently in. So thank you very much. Dr. Slop?
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Appreciate you being here.
I got a few people here I need to introduce.
Sure.
So I snuck this in on Barb, so don't be too mad at her. But we have our winter recognitions for Lakeland. So if you don't know, couple of things this winter. We had a real good winter. Our gymnastics and swim teams had good years. They just finished everything up, and Jim's going to talk about them. He oversees those programs. We're united. But just to mention, Brock Boyd finished 7th at the male border cross state finals. We had Brock Vinter and Juliana Henry, who qualified for states in ski. Boys bowling team went to the state title, to the state tournament from regionals, and we had 2 individuals, Savannah and Caitlin Reed, for the girls team. Our girls basketball team won their 2nd consecutive LVC title, and our hockey team won its 5th consecutive LVC title. Andre Newman, who couldn't be here tonight, finished 6th overall in the wrestling, which is really impressive, obviously. And then we've got the superstars. Come on up, ladies. I'd like to introduce to you your 2025 snowboard border cross state champions. So, yeah, it's really special when you win a state championship. It's really hard to do. Our coach, Aubrey Abbott, over here is in her 6th year. She makes me feel old because I taught her when she was in school. But that we get past that. If you could step out and wave when I call your name. Carly Anderson, Kayla Fournier, Danny Gall, Kate Hanneman, Addison Sievert, and then Bella Wakefield could not be here tonight. And I want to also acknowledge Danica Gall, who finished 6th overall. Step out, Danica. And then Katie Hanneman, who was 3rd in the state this year. So we're really proud of these girls. They worked extremely hard, and I guess we'll just plan on doing it again next year. Most of them will be back. So thank you for coming tonight.
And maybe, Todd, I'm old school like Amy. Back in my day, there was only a ski team, all right? And I know what skiing is. Could somebody explain to me, give a description of your sport, and what do you do? Go back to the microphone so that everybody can hear. I'm interested. Maybe I'll attempt it at Alpine or something. No?
Difference being our feet are connected, one board, and everything is all like you strap in. It's not just clicking. You're all strapped and you ready to go. You're ready to go.
You're on one board with your feet connected? Maybe you can demonstrate. Show us out here. What does that look like? Oh, you're like this? Oh, so you're kind of going sideways? And on flat ground like this? You jump and do all those kinds of things? And you were state champs. How'd you ever get into a sport like that? Thank you for the description. Based on that description, you will not see me out on Alpine doing this. No. Picture? Thank you, ladies. Congratulations again.
They really stuck it out.
Once again, I know high school starts early. I'll recess for a couple minutes if you'd like to leave. If not, you can stay. Come on. They're out of here. I was going to say they're going to skate out of here, but they don't skate. They ski. They slide. All right. From going to a new league to a description as it relates to being state champs to budget. Dr.
Yep.
Slav.
So last item for me this evening is the first and second quarter budget amendments, and our CFO, Mr. Van Gotham, is going to walk us through that.
Thank you, Dr. Slav, for that warm introduction. So we're going to go through the first and second quarter budget amendments real briefly this evening. So what you have before you is the last couple of years audited financial statements. So on an annual basis, the district receives an independent audit where another company comes in and double checks our work to make sure that we're accounting for all of our financial transactions accurately. You can see in the 23-24 year, we had originally projected a loss, and we ended up showing a positive $2.5 million, which we're appreciative of. So what you can see then in the third column is our original budget, which called for $4.2 million in expenditures over revenue. And so originally the board had passed that budget knowing that at the end of this year we could be as low as 8% in fund balance. As a result of the better than expected audit results, that now put us into a position where if we still saw the $4.2 million, we would end up around 14% in fund balance. I can tell you as a result of the amendments that we'll run through here real briefly, that we're amending the budget to show expenditures over revenue of $3 million, which means we're spending $3 million more than we're bringing in revenue, which on a $107 million budget is really not that bad when you compare us with other districts in the area in the state of Michigan. So I apologize for the size of this. It's pretty small, but I can go through and just kind of highlight for the viewing community. These are the revenue adjustments for the first and second quarter, and some of the bigger adjustments we're making this year. We did receive some additional MIPSERS funding. If you follow the state of Michigan, they made some adjustments in how they're funding retirement, and that it's actually a positive for the school district. We also had some additional special ed Headley revenue money, which is for our student support services. We did receive a healthcare reimbursement that's actually going back directly to our staff. And then we had some subtractions as well. We had, to highlight it, we had 16 fewer students than we originally budgeted. We had put a per pupil increase in our budget, and we did not receive that per pupil increase. And then we also had a UAAL rate stabilization, which had a negative $4.8 million in revenue, and then a corresponding a little over $3 million on the expense side. So the UAAL rate stabilization for the community is monies we receive from the state of Michigan to help us pay down the overall debt within the state of Michigan's retirement system, and then so they send us money and we ultimately send it back within a 2-week period. It's really just in and out for the district. We also had some adjustments in the expenditure side of things. So again, not to speak to every single line item because that'll put everybody to sleep. But for a couple of the items in particular, we did have the $1 million in healthcare reimbursement. We did receive that funding, or a portion of that so far. We are making a distribution to our staff in the next week or so with the March 25th payroll. And then we also have a couple other adjustments to some of our repairs and maintenance accounts. We did have a couple items that were originally in grants that we're moving back to the general fund. I do anticipate that some of the state action over the next couple months will move that back to grants, but it's a timing thing. So for now, we're moving those back into our general fund. And again, our general fund is really our operating account, like our general checking account for those that would have a checking or savings account at home. And then some other things in here include some transportation software. So many of the families are enjoying the bus rate software that we have for all of our families on students who use our buses, and we've heard really, knock on wood, a lot of positive feedback on the bus software. So we're really happy about that. We did have a transportation grant that came through that's just a little under $800,000. And then again, like I mentioned, we had the $4.8 million in reduction to the UAAL revenue. The $3 million is the corresponding offset because we also allocate some of those benefits to the grant accounting that we have. So again, to summarize, we originally had a budget that the Board of Education approved in June of 2024 that called for $4.2 million in expenditures over revenue. We are having the board at this evening's meeting under our consent agenda approve the first and second quarter adjustments that call for $3 million in expenditures over revenue. And then it's also important to note, while it's not a part of the presentation, we are also asking the board to take action on our grants budget this evening, and we have about $14 million that the district receives in grant funding, a combination of federal and state programming, which is really essential to helping us maintain the operations within the school district. Again, when you're thinking about that, that's separate from this, but it's $14 million in federal and state grants combined, which is really vital in what we're doing in the school district. Thank you, Dr. Slaw.
Any questions for Mr. Van Gotham?
Any questions from any board members? Yes, Denise?
Just one, under the revenue amendments, can you talk about the decrease in vocational education funding? Is that because we didn't have students, or what is that amount?
So that actually comes directly as like a categorical class, Denise, from our state aid, and so we would obviously welcome additional funding, but that was just a cut from the state of Michigan. Nothing to do with how many students we have as much as it is with the overall other districts were impacted by that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? I know we've talked about this, but originally the board knew that expenditures were going to be over revenue this year. So the fact that the original budget that we adopted was basically had a deficit of 4.2 million, but that was something that was planned. Based on the amendments that you and your team have put together, the budget that we're being presented tonight shows that deficit going from 4.2 down to 3.0, which is 1.2 to the good, 1.2 million. And at the same time, when we originally passed the 24-25 budget, our fund balance was going to end up being about 8%, but now it's going to be projected to be about 15.2%, and that's really based on the fact that we're in better shape than what we anticipated, along with last year's audit being a little bit better than what we anticipated also. Correct?
Correct. Yeah, the goal is to always, at least with respect to how we've handled it, and again, I give credit to the board and the Finance and Operations Subcommittee. We talk about the financials a lot every month, and we really make a point to ensure that as best as we can, we want to be, coming to the community and again, back to the board with results that are better than expected, and making sure that we're creating estimates that are like reasonable and achievable, if you will. It's also important to note really long-term that, the district has taken actions with respect to redistricting and, seeing efficiencies where we can gain. And so we're confident that as we're building the 25-26 and beyond, that we continue to, even improve on the results that we're providing tonight, because it's really not, while this is a one chance look from December 31st, 2024, we're looking out, 2, 3, 5 years, because we want to make sure that when we're providing for the community, and we know that this is important, and, maintaining a fund balance as well as accurately depicting revenues and expenditures helps us make financial decisions as a district, and that really helps us with how we do our day-to-day operations.
And a significant part of our budget process is one that we have to adopt a budget by the end of June. And at that point in time, we don't know how many students we're going to have walking through the door in September. And at that point in time, we don't even really know how much we're going to be getting from the state as it relates to the number of students that walk through the door. So with that, we want to be conservative, but at the same time, we want to be realistic, because obviously this budget is a living, breathing document that really demonstrates what our priorities are. And 85% of this budget goes towards staffing that provides those services. So we want to make certain that we're realistic, but we are, like you said, Jeffrey, conservative, so that we're presenting a budget at the Second Amendment showing that it's at or better than what we anticipated. So job well done. This will be now on our consent agenda under appropriations, and this is the amendment to the original budget with the taking consideration first and second quarters. We'll have something that follows the third and fourth quarter also, correct?
Correct, yeah. So again, they kind of almost come simultaneously, Tom. As you're aware, we have a budget that we'll request for you to approve for the 25-26 school year. And around the same time, we also have you approve the third and fourth quarter. We try to get it as close to obviously June as possible, because information is constantly coming in. And sometimes the state of Michigan, at least in my time here, has changed some of the estimates for us that late in the year that we have to be kind of reactive to. So we want to create an accurate as possible budget at the third and fourth quarter, so when the auditors do come in and audit us, we can get those estimates to be as close to realistic as possible, as you mentioned.
Right.
And again, while we're talking really briefly, I know my director of finance, Miss Heather Kerrigan, is here. Her and her team in the business office do a remarkable job. When you think about our school district, we're really $125 to $150 million business, and that all takes place through the business office with all the transactions, the thousands and thousands of transactions that they take care of every single year. And so when she gets an opportunity to come to the board meeting, we want to make sure we recognize her and the team are the real stars of this work, and I want to make sure that goes on record as note.
Yes, they absolutely do a wonderful job, and I think it's important to note, Treasurer Grzynkowski, thank you for your service as treasurer. Our Finance and Operations Committee, along with Michelle, meets at least twice a month, and those meetings usually last a couple of hours, and we spend a lot of time going over a lot of the information that Jeffrey's presented, that Heather and her team has presented to us, along with, obviously, the bond issue and the projects and things like that. So we spend a lot of time going over the numbers, don't we, Amy? Yes. Yep. Okay. Thank you. Next on the agenda is student leadership. Do we have anything, Ms. Pastana?
No student leadership tonight.
Okay, association communication.
Good evening. As you all know, this past Friday, the district recognized our 3 educators of the year. This is an exciting time in the Valley, as these educators are honored for all of their incredible work that they do each day. Kim Best is a special education teacher at Harbor High School. Kim's colleague, Annie Zambito, shared with me that Kim is exceptional at connecting with students that require a little bit of extra care. Students quickly learn that they can count on her for both academic and social support, making her classroom a popular destination for all Harbor High School students. Samantha Samuels is a choir and musical theater director at Oak Valley. Sam's colleague, Don Hogaboom, shared that Sam's immense dedication to the arts and her commitment for bringing music and theater into the lives of Oak Valley students is extraordinary. In addition to the many long hours it takes after teaching all day to put on a musical production. And finally, Kaylee Zimmerman is a first grade teacher at Kurtz. Her colleague, Kathy Rupp and Melissa Horniak, share that Kaylee's love for her students is evident the minute you walk in her classroom. She is an educator who is always looking for ways to stay on top of best practices, and her ability to empower her students is truly remarkable. Across the Valley, we have hundreds of dedicated, knowledgeable, caring, and respected educators, all of whom are committed to educating and supporting our students within our public schools. We do great things in Huron Valley each day. We are fortunate to have a Board of Education, Central Office Administration, and our Education Association, which share a common mission and work cohesively to support all our students and families. As we continue our focus on our students, we also need to ensure that Huron Valley continues to have the means to provide our current high level of academic support and enrichment for our students. Because that's what it's all about, our students. Our students deserve to have fully funded schools. Our students deserve a free, high-quality public education, which provides the support, instruction, and skills they need for when they graduate. Our students deserve to know that we will advocate for them to have all resources available that they need. Our students' success is our district's success. Working together to ensure that there is funding available so all our students have what they need and deserve is of the utmost importance. The HVEA will continue to follow discussions at both the state and federal level and commit to advocating for our students and the education that they deserve and should receive. Because, as I said, that's what it's all about, our students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have board correspondence. Secretary Pastana, any board correspondence?
No correspondence tonight.
Treasurer Grznkowski, anything from a treasurer's
No.
standpoint?
I think we got it with our first and second quarter amendments.
Great, thank you. Next, we have reports from board committee. First is our exec. We met on March 11th at 1 o'clock in the administrative offices. Present were myself, along with Member Dodd, Member Pastana, Dr. Salah, and Heather Cadell. No one was absent. There were no public comments. First and foremost, we met and reviewed the board agenda as presented today. There was nothing as it related to school safety and security. Communications, the committee reviewed communication related to special education language and examined the applicable board policies as it related to that. Administrative guidelines, the committee conducted a second reading of the 8,000 administrative guidelines, and after a thorough review, endorsed the guidelines with some requested updates and recommended posting them on the district's website once the revisions are implemented. 39.2, board policy updates. Dr. Salah presented a variety of updates as it relates to board policies as well as additional administrative guidelines. He gave us some homework, and I'm sure members of our committee are already doing their homework as it relates to that, and we'll have a second reading at our next our next executive meeting on April 8th. Laura Dodd, Member Dodd, expressed her interest in reaching out to the Township or Road Commission to inquire about plans for paving Burns Road. Dr. Slough offered to join the conversation and assist from a school district perspective. And if you've ever driven down Burns Road, you probably understand why Member Dodd requested us to take a look at that. So the adjournment occurred at 2:36, and our next meeting will be April 8th, as I said before, at 12:30 at the administrative offices. TLT.
TLT met on March 4th. Meeting was called to order at 4:04 p.m. Present were myself, Mr. Dimick, Ms. Dodd, who was our alternate. Ms. Cotter was absent. Mr. DeVernier, Dr. Salah, Mr. Lindberg, Mr. Endicott, Ms. Thompson, Dr. Nemeth, Mr. Marzalek, Ms. Horwitz, and Alana from Milford High School. There was no public comment. We discussed under unfinished business, Board Policy 5500. Mr. Tavernier provided committee members with the updated AI Code of Conduct language for Board Policy 5500. This topic will be added to unfinished business and discussed further at our next committee meeting. Under new business, we talked about the JV softball cooperative. Mr. Marzalek brought a proposal before the committee to temporarily combine Milford's and Lakeland's JV softball team, making a Huron Valley United JV softball team. MHSAA guidelines allow for this for a minimum of 2 years, and the committee supported the formation of a combined JV softball team. We talked about the middle school mentor program. Oak Valley's mentor program has been very successful, and with the closure of this school, we discussed to see if we could bring this to the middle school, both at Mira and White Lake. We moved this item to April 15th with the principals of the other middle schools to be invited. We talked about strategic plans update. Mr. Lindberg shared that the middle school course book is being updated with new electives and required courses, and this will be completed before the 5th grade orientation visits in May. No report about safety and security updates at this time. And under student leadership, Alana shared that some students were unable to schedule next year's courses as they were awaiting open enrollment decisions. Mr. Tavernier shared that open enrollment applications for high schools are being approved quickly, and this should longer be an issue. She was going to follow up with Mr. Tavernier if needed. We adjourned at 4:50, and our next meeting is tomorrow, March 18th at 4 o'clock at the administration office.
Thank you very much. Finance and Operations, Chair Grznkowski.
Finance and Operations met on Wednesday, March 12th at 8:03 a.m. at the Administration Building. Present were Mr. Wiseman, myself, Mrs. Ryan, Mr. Van Gotha, Mr. Reeby, Ms. Timberlake, and Mr. Maxwell from Clark Construction, and Mr. Weinrock from TMP Architecture. We did not have any public comment. We have consent agenda items this evening, including the first and second quarter amendments, which Mr. Van Gotham went through thoroughly with the committee. We also have the state and federal grant budget for 2024-2025. Huron Valley Schools' proposed state and federal grant budget includes $14 million in revenue and expenses. Administration is asking that the Board of Education approve that this evening. We did have unfinished business. We had our bus purchases. There were 2 questions posed from the committee in the previous Finance and Operations meeting that were responded to. The first question came regarding diesel versus gasoline buses. Transportation's rationale is that diesel outperforms gas on individual trips and overall mileage capacity or capability, meaning we can have them on the road longer than gasoline buses. The other question came from the equipment side being added to vehicles such as cameras, and that we as a district order those items in bulk and install them on new buses and vehicles. And inventory is running a little light, so we'll look into some extra camera stock in the near future. We also have the lawnmower purchase this evening. There were no further questions from the committee regarding that. Additional school safety and safety recommendation purchase. There were no further questions regarding that purchase, and the administration is looking for approval this evening. Comcast VOD server purchase. There was no further questions from the committee, and the administration is requesting approval at this evening's board meeting. We did not have any new business. Safety and security updates. Mr. Van Gotham discussed the additional school safety recommendations before the board this evening and the latest in safety and security updates. Nothing else was noted at the time. In addition, we had an update from Clark Construction regarding contingency and bid pack for each of the bid packs. The design activities for for the Milford High School administration building remodel and the middle schools were discussed. Lakeland High School roofing, some updates were discussed there as well. Mr. Weinrock led the discussion, and Mr. Van Gotham discussed his visit to Lakeland High School and his observations regarding the rooftop. Administration building relocation update. Our next meeting will be on Friday, March 21st. The agenda to include the validate the architectural finish intent, review the initial furniture layouts and product selections, and validate the budget and review the estimate. The middle school steering committee update. We had focus groups starting today. They will continue tomorrow and the 20th. Our next steering committee meeting will be on Monday, March 31st for the new middle schools. Future discussion items. Mr. Endicott will present cybersecurity update on the April 9th Finance and Operations meeting. Our meeting was adjourned at 9:09 a.m., which was not quite a record, but close. Our next meeting will be April 9th at 8 a.m., and as always, I hope to see you there.
Thank you very much. Chairperson Dodd, Communications, Marketing, and Legislative.
Yes, our meeting was held on March 4th at the Administration Building. We started promptly at 2:30. Members present were myself, Mr. Wiseman, Ms. Grzymkowski, Ms. Rothler, Dr. Salah. We were missing Ms. Cotter, but we appreciated Mr. Wiseman coming in as the alternate. We did not have public comment on our regular agenda. First point was the middle school relocation timelines and communications. This is specifically related to our staff. Communications updated the committee about the timeline when notifications would go out to staff for their building placement for next year, specifically middle school. Ms. Rothler discussed with the committee some of the transition activities that will take place to welcome staff and families to their new middle schools. Next on the agenda, therapy dog sponsors. Ms. Rothler informed the committee that LaFontaine and the Huron Valley Chamber of Commerce have each donated $5,000 to help fund a therapy dog. The process is underway of looking for host families and determining which school the dog will be placed. For the district to sustain a therapy dog program more, and I don't have what the more is. I'm going to imagine more funding, more donors, more something. But the therapy dog programs are wonderful. but they're also very costly to do the right way. So I would imagine the more would be funding and support. If not, I'm going to say that's what it is. C, safety, security, EOP. Ms. Rothler discussed the process of updating the district's emergency operation procedures books that we currently have in place. She also discussed the timeline that the new books will be completed and the process she will take to make sure all schools across the district are aware of what our emergency procedures are. Next, legislative communication. Dr. Salah and Ms. Dodd discussed some of the legislation that's currently in Lansing being discussed and awaiting Governor Whitmer's signature specifically regarding health care costs. Other, HVEF, Mr. Van Gotham requested the committee's assistance with video support to help showcase the Huron Valley Education Foundation and its fundraising. Next, we discussed the Huron Valley Rec and Ed marketing. Ms. Dodd discussed questions from Ms. Loso regarding the branding and marketing for the Rec and Ed timeline. Follow-up discussion will be had with Ms. Loso. We adjourned, the committee adjourned at 3:46 p.m. Next meeting will be Tuesday, April 29th at 2:30 p.m.
Thank you very much. Next, we have on the agenda, public comments on action items. There are no public comments on action items. I do have 5 citizen participation forms as it relates to non-action items. So what we will do is move them up to section 3. As a reminder, number 1, we appreciate comments and outreach to our community. At the same time, these comments will be listened to intently, and if there are comments that can be acted upon, we will turn those comments over to Dr. Salah, who will oversee either answering them or moving them on to a team member. These comments must be related to school business, and with that, the first on the agenda, first public comment is John Blackburn. John?
Hi, I'm John Blackburn.
Blackburn.
Blackburn, yes. And,
Okay, thank you.
my family lives in Huron Valley District. Hello, Huron Valley School Board. As I said, my name is John Blackburn. I'm a parent of a White Lake Middle School student, as well as 2 Lakeland graduates. In addition, I'm currently the head coach of the White Lake Middle School robotics team, the Wired Warriors. As many of you probably know, we currently have 4 middle school robotics teams, 2 at Oak Valley, 1 at Muir, and 1 at White Lake. And with the closing of Oak Valley, it is very likely that we will end up with 2 teams at each of the remaining schools. Currently, the Oak Valley teams have a dedicated space to meet and store their materials and keep their field set up. They also utilize a couple of the other classrooms to help with meetings for their various groups on the team. The Muir team meets in the upper part of in a small part of the upper part of the gymnasium at Muir, and then at White Lake we meet in the media center. And the primary season for the robotics, for middle school robotics, runs from the beginning of the school year till about mid-December. The teams meet between 2 and 5 evenings per week, and some Saturdays if they're allowed. Several of the teams also meet after the holiday break with an opportunity for another competition in May. And each team consists of approximately 15 students, a number of coaches and adult and high school mentors. On average, White Lake, we had about 25 people attending the practices during the fall. Each team has a very large amount of materials, supplies, as well as a 12-foot by 12-foot practice field. Not having dedicated space for these teams creates a number of challenges, the greatest of which is having to unpack tools, materials, and the practice field each and every practice, each and every evening. The practice field, I think I mentioned, is 12 foot by 12 foot, and it's got a lot of parts to it and everything. That practice field can take about 30 minutes to assemble, and pretty similar to that to take it down and put it away. So when practices are only about 2 to 2.5 hours in the evening, it takes away a lot of the productive time. That said, the middle school robotics teams would like to ask the board to consider allowing the middle school robotics teams to establish a permanent middle school robotics lab at Oak Valley after it closes. Potentially having all 4 teams meeting there would require a fair bit of space. We'd like you to consider turning the hallway that has the engineering room and the music rooms in it into such lab so that we could provide good space for the teams to meet, with space for building and keeping practice fields assembled and storing all the materials and things, as well as giving some areas for the various teams, various groups of the teams to meet.
Okay. Thank you very much for your comments. Matthew Blackburn.
Hello, I am Matthew Blackburn, part of the HBS district, and here to talk about robotics, and I'm a student on the team. And robotics is not just a social club, it's a competitive, hands-on program that challenges us to apply math, science, and engineering to solve problems. It pushes us to think creatively, collaborate with our team, and develop important technical skills that go far beyond our classrooms. At its core, robotics is about designing, building, wiring, and programming a robot. We spend countless hours brainstorming, prototyping, testing, and refining our robot to be competitive and versatile. Everything is carefully planned and improved through constant iterations. When things go wrong, and they normally do, we push forward and adapt through the situations. Robotics teaches us real-world skills such as marketing, fundraising, and outreach. We promote our team and First Robotics, secure funding, and build relationships with our sponsors. These experiences will help develop leadership and communication skills that are valuable in any career. Most importantly, robotics helps us with problem solving. It teaches us to think critically and work as a team to overcome challenges. And it prepares us to be future innovators and engineers and leaders of tomorrow. In the end, this program isn't just about building robots. It's about building the future. It gives us the skills, experience, and confidence to make a difference in the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Next, we'll have Madeline Hedges.
Hello, my name is Madeline Hedges. I have been on the White Lake Warriors robotics team for 2 years. It has helped me develop many skills, including hard and soft. It is a big part of my life, and I have made many connections through robotics that have traveled through my life. Robotics has taught me to work as a team and collaborate with my peers in many aspects. It helps us to problem solve and work together to fit the criteria needed to assemble and play the game. It allows us to work together and be creative and build our creative aspects and mottos of it. It also helps us when it comes to our classes and speaking in front of people. As you can tell, I am very nervous. I have huge stage fright, but robotics has helped me when it comes to speaking in front of the judges and getting to go over my fears and getting to learn about the new aspects of going into the real world and speaking in front of people. Also, it helps the community by building the school spirit. If we had a designated space where we are able to meet and work together with other teams, we are able to build connections through it instead of like the iconic rivalries you see through basketball or any sports. It also helps teach kids about STEAM activities and gets more involvement and interest. This can help the academic aspect of it, and it's very important. It also grows the STEM engagement of all students. In conclusion, I am very excited to continue robotics throughout high school. I hope future robotics kids have a place and space where they can interact freely and be able to speak about their ideas where they are not judged but are able to be lifted up by their peers. It can also help future kids grow their passions and skills and the community around them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fine job. Next is Richard Skelski.
How you doing? My name's Richard Skalski, HVS parent. I'm here again to ask for the accountability the victims and parents in our community deserve concerning the Spring Mills sexual assault case. Almost 1 year has passed since many parents of the Spring Mills Elementary School found out about their children being sexually assaulted in April of 2024. Instead of hearing the voice of the community, nothing has been done to hold anyone accountable for hiring such a monster. Instead of the children's safety breach, the children's safety breach continues to be ignored. The policy that HVS has was not followed. There has been zero accountability for the staff who are directly involved. The point of my speech today is to bring awareness to the public. HVS protects HVS, not your children. The superintendent, in my opinion, has been lying to the public, has covered up and humiliated victims. He has a responsibility of the staff, and when the staff does wrong, he deflects and blames instead of taking responsibility. That is not the leadership we want in our schools. The parents of Spring Mills sex scandal will not let the community forget he is to blame. The board members need to recognize this. Sooner or later, someone needs to be held accountable. Thank you.
Next, we have Erica Skelski.
Hi, my name's Erica, HVS parent, Spring Mill, mother of a victim. I just want to read to you, police report. In February of 2023, Sarah Bentley received an email from a parent who stated her daughter told her that some of his classmates sat on Doherty's lap while in class. During this time, Doherty was a long-term sub in Mr. C's 4th grade class. Bentley approached Doherty and told him that a parent had contacted the school to report that other students were sitting on his lap. She asked him if any student sat on his lap the day before. Doherty said yes, February of 2023. My daughter was assaulted for a year after this. January 5th, 2025. Sarah Bentley visited the admin building. Directly after leaving, she went straight to the Spring Mills Elementary School where my daughter and numerous other children, 13 to be exact, saw her and ran for their lives in fear. The admins claimed they did not know that she was going, but upon further investigation, it was brought to our attention that they were aware she was donating game balls to the Spring Mills children. Why was Bentley allowed in Spring Mills after admitting that she knew there was inappropriate touching of our children? She didn't report it. Why was she allowed to enter the school and strike fear into these children? Another thing I'd like to read. This is for the public. Mr. Doherty was asked, what schools did you work in? Kurtz Elementary, Johnson Elementary, Milford and Lakeland High Schools, Lakewood Elementary, White Lake Middle School, Muir Middle School, Oak Valley Middle School, and Country Oaks Elementary. Mainly at Spring Mills Elementary. I just want the public to be aware that these are the schools that this monster was in. These are the schools that this man touched children. And as far as it goes for accountability, Miss Mattingly, who knowingly admitted to knowing what was going on but assumed that Miss Bentley would be the one reporting it, is still employed by the Huron Valley School District. She's in Country Oaks Elementary and Kurtz Elementary currently right now. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is our consent agenda. The consent agenda is Exhibits A1 through A5, including the first and second quarter amendments that were just presented along with federal grant amendment. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion made by Treasurer Grznkowski. Do I have a second?
I'll support that.
All right, seconded by Member Cotter. Any questions? Seeing none, could I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Grznkowski.
Yes.
Ms. Cotter.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Dodd.
Yes.
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next on the agenda is unfinished business. This is information that was under new business at our last board meeting. Since that time, this information has been presented again to Finance and Operations and also made available to board members. If you have any further questions, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Slah. The first item is bus purchases, Exhibit B.
Thank you, Mr. President. I thought Ms. Grznkowski did an excellent job walking through the questions that were asked regarding each of these items. As she mentioned, there were two questions specifically reviewed regarding the bus purchases, which relate to diesel versus gas, as well as equipment and purchasing some items in bulk to ensure that we have the appropriate materials to make sure our buses are ready for the road. There have not been any additional questions that I've heard. Mr. Van Gotham has not heard any other questions either, so we would ask the board approve bus purchases as presented in Exhibit B.
Any questions? Any further questions? Seeing none, could I have a motion to approve the purchase of the buses?
Yes, I'd like to submit that we approve the bus purchase as presented,
And do I have a second?
provided they're yellow.
That-
Just
yes.
teasing.
They'll have some black accents, too.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, motion made by Member Cotter, seconded by Vice President Dodd. Seeing no other questions, could I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Cotter.
Yes.
Ms. Dodd.
Yes.
Ms. Grznkowski.
Yes.
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
I am a yes. Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next, lawnmower purchases. Dr. Slop?
Again, no additional questions on the lawnmower purchases, so we would ask for board approval of Exhibit C as presented.
As I said before, this has been presented prior to this board meeting, at the prior board meeting, and have had an opportunity to answer any questions that might have arisen. Are there any further questions? Seeing none, could I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of the lawnmowers.
A motion made by Treasurer Grznkowski. Do I have a second?
Sorry, I'll support that.
Seconded by Secretary Pastana. Seeing no other questions, could we have a roll call, please?
Yep. Ms. Grznkowski.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Cotter.
Yes.
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Ms. Dodd.
Yes.
And Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next, additional school safety recommendations purchase. Dr. Slop?
School safety remains a huge focus for us as a school organization. We continue to identify opportunities where we can harden our facilities and employ best practices as it relates to keeping our children safe while they're in the school environment. And so this additional school safety recommendation purchase, fortunately, will be funded out of a categorical provided by the state of Michigan. It will not be a general fund purchase. I think that's important to note. We have not received any additional questions, so we would ask that the board approve the additional school safety recommendations, Exhibit D, as presented.
Any comments or questions? Seeing none, do I have a recommendation?
Yep, I will move the Board of Education approve the additional school safety recommendation purchase as presented.
Motion made by Member Ryan. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Vice President Dodd. Seeing no other further questions, could I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Ms. Dodd.
Yes.
Ms. Cotter.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Grznkowski.
Yes.
And Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Cable cast server. Dr. Slop?
Yes, this cable cast server purchase has been presented to the Marketing and Communications Committee as well as Finance and Operations. and has also been presented to the full board. We have not had any additional questions regarding this equipment, which basically makes our cable channel operate successfully. This will be funded from the Western Oakland County Cable Communications Authority. No cost to the general fund. Asking for board approval as presented.
Any other questions? The only comment and Dr. Sly, you brought it up, and the last one as it related to school safety, that was categorical from the state as it relates to school safety purchases. This cable cast server is no cost to the general fund. It's through a previous agreement through our cable provider, and it has no direct cost to the district because in lieu of, we provide services to them. I think it's also important to note that A, the bus purchases, and B, the lawnmower purchases are made available through the bond issue that was passed and supported by our taxpayers, and it does not have any effect on the general fund. Remember, the general fund is what was presented earlier today by Mr. Van Gothen. So if there are no other questions, could I have a motion to approve the Cablecast server, Exhibit E?
I'll make a motion to approve the Cablecast server purchase as presented.
And do I have a second?
I'll second that one.
Okay. Motion made by Vice President Dodd, seconded by Member Cotter. Could I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Dodd?
Yes.
Ms. Cotter?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Grisomkowski?
Yes.
I am a yes. Mr. Wiseman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. Next, new business. There is no new business. Under public comments, we have had public comments. Are there any additional public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to good and welfare. Good and welfare. Anyone have any comments as it relates to that? Yes.
We are approaching spring break. Mr. Wiseman already encouraged a happy and functional and safe and return. I'm going to promote the Huron Valley Community Theater's recent production of 4th and 5th graders from our schools of The Grunch. It will be Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Saturday evening, right at the little theater in Milford. It's a fun little short, 50 minutes, so it's not you don't have to, drink less because you're going to be in a theater for a long time. It's, I always worry about how much water I'm drinking before I go because I don't want to have to get over people. I'm just talking water. No, but attending, so if you don't have spring break plans to go someplace tropical, but you want to kick it off with some fun, the kids are doing a great job with The Grunch with Huron Valley Community Theater.
Any other good and welfare? Yes, Amy.
I had the opportunity to attend the Milford Art Show at the Huron Valley Council for the Arts. That is running through April 9th. If you have the opportunity to go take a look at the gallery, our students are incredibly talented. I was just really impressed. I would not encourage you, though, to take water, but an excellent show. Get out and see it.
Any other comments? And as they say, for the performance, there's plenty of good seats available.
Plenty of good seats available.
Right. Seeing none, everyone have a wonderful rest of St. Patrick's Day today. Enjoy yourself, and as Laura mentioned, please be safe, students. Enjoy your time off, but come back to us. All right. This meeting